Ashley, let's get started.
Yeah, let's not waste any more time. Thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. This session will be recorded and emailed to all registrants. We encourage engagement, so please enter all questions into the chat and the presenters will be more than happy to answer at the end. And now I would like to introduce Clint Will, Senior Partner Development Manager of Microsoft.
Right, thanks Ashley, appreciate that. And first off, thanks everyone for attending today's event. As Ashley said, I'm a Partner Development Manager with Microsoft, and I'm responsible for managing the national partnership between Microsoft and Armanino. I'm in my 21st year at Microsoft, and I've had the pleasure of working with Chris and team for the majority of my career at Armanino. I know Chris is going to talk a little bit about some of their background and some of the recognition that they've won as Partner of the Year and consistently as one of our top partners. But for me, the thing that really stands out is their industry expertise and what they bring on top of our platform to really be able to drive success with our customers and drive the outcomes that you're looking for based on your priorities. So excited to be part of today's event. And with that, I'd like to introduce Chris Moore, who's their Microsoft practice lead and partner at Armanino. Chris.
All right, thanks, Clint. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. And today I'm sporting my very famous Armanino tie-dye shirt, which last time we had our webinar was like a big crowd pleaser. So, but hey, really excited today to talk to you about supply chain disruptions and really about how we view it as well as Microsoft. We're going to have a few of good friends and distinguished guests on the line today. Mike Ehrenberg, who's the CTO of Dynamics Business Applications, is going to talk a little bit to the Microsoft roadmap and a lot of the capabilities that are being deployed around supply chain and efficiencies related to that. And then after that, we're going to have a Q&A session with Cam Moore, who is the Global Director of IT of Kindeva Drug Delivery. And we're going to talk about his experience with the business application platform. So we got a great lineup today. After that, we'll open up to a panel discussions and take any questions that you guys have. Yeah, at Armanino, as Clint mentioned, we were Partner of the Year last year, but really strive to be entrepreneurial and very innovative. So really forward thinking, always investing in new technologies. We're about a 2,500 person organization approaching around 600 million in revenue, and we're hyper focused on the consulting side around our Microsoft practice. So we have a team of folks around the Power Platform, helping companies automate through their, through the Power Automate platform, as well as the business intelligence for reporting. And then finance and supply chain is really, where a lot of our customers will start their journey. In addition to that, Dynamics Business Central is one of the fastest growing ERPs within Microsoft, and that's an area that we've made big investments as well. So a lot of capabilities across the platform, and really looking forward to sharing more information with you as we go through it. Next, I want to introduce Cam Moore. So Cam is, once again, is the Director of Global IT out of Kindeva Drug Delivery, and he's really worked hard to shape the Dynamics and Microsoft footprint for Kindeva over the last couple of years. He's got a daughter studying in college who graciously took his profile picture, which turned out amazing. And he is a home automation enthusiast. So Cam, I really appreciate your time today. And you want to add anything else to the intro?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, no, I'm excited, glad to share the story. As I think you mentioned here, I spent a lot of years in ERP implementation in the space, and this has definitely been a game-changing experience. It's different.
Right,
it's changed a lot. It's been very impressive. A lot of nice things happening.
Yeah, now, and I do know one of the early challenges that you guys had was, I know out of the spin out from 3M, going through the process of very quickly having to get off of your current ERP, and and I think there was a deadline there as well. But what did that journey look like for you?
It was really out of the gate. There was just a real need for just the commitment and the focus to get it done. It wasn't a matter of when. Sure. It was, it was time boxed. We knew what we had to do. So it was really getting the team together and focused and committed. So out of the gate, there's always multiple factors, but I would say part of it's, we really had a great team. We were fortunate, right from very engaged leadership, very committed team, internal and partners, I think we were very lucky to pull in some really great groups, including Armanino. I think we'll talk more onshore West Monroe partners. I mean, we had a really good team that came together. It was just one of those really special efforts. The other is I think we picked the right software. We picked a really great modern platform. It's interesting to hear Mike talk about some of these things because there's a lot of things with this software that just were non-issues, right? The updates, environment builds. I mean, environments, I ping someone over Teams and an hour later, I've got a new environment fired up. And then I think we just ended up having a good, smart approach, right? The way we organized and approached this, I think we're very focused on just doing the right things. And part of that, rolling into it is, for an ERP, we had multiple ERPs across sites. So we were a carve out from 3M. 3M's a big company though. So they had a lot of sites working, with slightly different systems or approaches. So we had 3 different ERPs we moved from. So moving that in, we were just very focused on, hey, let's start fresh. What do we need, right? What's the core process? Let's not try to rebuild everything and make this. So we just really focused on it and tried to engage, focused on what are the core processes? How does our software do that? And let's start with that, right? The system does everything. Let's just figure out what we need and let's ask that question. How should it work? And, does that work for us? And it did time and time again.
I do. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't interrupt you.
Okay. No, I got a couple more, Chris.
There you go.
So the other, and to the Armanino team's credit, coming in with this and establishing this approach every single day, and all the work we did was focused on that. Folks know, no bells and whistles, right? What's the core process? What do we need? So everybody really operated and talked the talk, and it was just part of every day that we did this.
All right. Hey, Cam, great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Question for you. So I do know, after that 3-month implementation experience and getting off of SAP Financials and on the Microsoft platform, that the team went through really a detailed requirements sort of selection process to really evaluate from a manufacturing and supply chain perspective if the Microsoft platform could really support that business. Maybe talk a little bit about sort of that thought process and where you guys ended up.
Sure. So we did start out, so it was a carve out. So even before I came in, we had actually, I'll say tactically put Dynamics 365 in. And I think the Armanino team put that in and put it in place. We had a very basic install, but we hadn't yet committed and selected it as our global ERP. So really from there, we went through an analysis of the, just those core features to make sure it had all the things we needed. There was a few ISVs that were identified that kind of rounded it out. So it really did provide all of those, all of the pieces that we need, then we could follow and implement those processes. So a few months in, we did make the final decision on which ERP to use and to go with Dynamics 365. Besides the fit and functionality, I think a lot of it, we were very determined to have new platforms, cloud functionality, easy to manage. And frankly, I think the cap on it was that alignment with the Microsoft suite of tools. And we do benefit from that. As it integrates with Teams and SharePoint, it's really nice to have that ecosystem. So a lot of things that, I have to think back years, but a lot of obstacles, you might typically come across just were non-issues, right? There were things connecting and it was all very seamless. So that was a key factor too. And I'm glad that we did make that decision. And then, even as we went into the system and we started working on it, as you would, even with a rapid deployment, we did upgrade 2 times during this deployment, which, in the past might, everybody stop work for 6 months. We're going to upgrade. It was like a weekend. We're upgrading this weekend. Things went really quickly and smoothly. As we put that in. So it's really been a good experience, very stable. I tell people it's almost we're closer to an MS Word platform than an ERP. It really fit our rapid approach.
Great. That's really great to hear. A lot of people are concerned and worried about, hey, what does that upgrade process look like? Is it going to impact me? And so that's really good news to hear. And I do know what's front and center to a lot of those processes around upgrade is really the compliance aspect of your business. So I know FDA compliance is a critical part and really across, the life sciences industry and high tech, whether it's ITAR or, SOX or what have you. But in this case, FDA compliance, what are some of the things that you guys did to make that process align with sort of your upgrades and all that kind of jazz.
Right. So yeah, so first of all, again, having a good stable system is key, right? So it really operated really well, and we didn't have issues and have to, chase anything. So right from the get-go, very stable. I'd say the other part of it's our execution approach, because we did focus on leveraging the system the way it's intended. We didn't try to turn it into another system or highly customize it. It's a very vanilla, very lightly configured system that works well. And that was key, because as you do that, it just, you run into less challenges and problems. And then the other part is, as we are bringing in partners, Armanino, and then, I'll mention onshore, we're using the common out-of-the-box system. So everyone that came in the door knew what we were doing. It wasn't, hey, what have you done here? It was very, very common and easy for folks to just jump in and hit the ground and keep working on the implementation. The second one was that, as far as the formal software validation, we did find a good partner. And, within the space, I think Dynamics 365 is a good footprint. We found a partner that have worked with it for several years. And they basically had, Onshore Technology brought in a validation accelerator for D365 with us, a full set of scripts. Again, because we kept it nice and simple and we were able to use the system out of the box. It was largely off-the-shelf scripts. We did all the due diligence on it, but a very smooth process. And that's something alone that at times, depending on the ERP, the way it's set up, can be, that could be 11 months on its own. But this really went very, very well, very smooth, and it came together really well.
Right.
So I'd say it's those two things, really, out of the box, and then, out of the box, and then being able to leverage partners. If you highly customize it, people come in and it takes them a month just to figure out what you've done, but we didn't have to do that.
Right. Well, that was very insightful. And a lot of people, that's another aspect of that upgrade that people get a little angst around. So that was good insight. I appreciate it. What are the top couple ROI or kind of values aspects of the application that you think Kindeva's achieved as part of the implementation?
So doing the rapid implementation, and listening to Mike earlier too, we're very excited to start digging into some of these more advanced features. Frankly, as we moved forward, it was really just getting those, very basic standard processes in place and getting things functioning, which we were able to do really rapidly. So that allowed us to, to just keep conducting business as normal. So it's hard to almost measure an ROI because it was just such a smooth transition with, without downtime or interruption. And keep in mind, during this 11 months, it wasn't even 11 months from when we started until we did a global implementation of 4 sites manufacturing product for this. So in the time that we did that, the business kept making product. So along the way, we moved data, we shifted and implemented it. So the ROI, frankly, was largely right now just that ease of use and the smooth transition of the tool. We have some of the features. We've definitely got some very valuable features. The advanced warehousing has proved very helpful. But going forward now, it's just, we have such a nice toolkit and so many features now. It's almost so many things, right? Where do we start and what pieces do we put in now? We got a nice toy box of things to keep moving ahead. And it's really, really thanks to the fact that we are stable and operating on the system globally, and we're operating consistently.
All right, fantastic. Hey, Ashley, why don't we open it up to our panel and we'll field any questions that the folks might have.
So one question we have for Cam from the audience is, it looks like it's a life science. So we seem to struggle with data migration. What pieces of advice do you have around best practice?
So we did do a tremendous amount of data migration. We pulled in from multiple systems, so it was a big effort. I would say what we really did was first of all, we leveraged Armanino highly in this, right? We focused on what we were going to, so it wasn't taking everything and trying to, let's make it fit. There's this column and data in this system and this and this. We really focused, what's the core process in Dynamics? What do we need to support that? So we focused on that with our data loads. We certainly reviewed everything and make sure everything landed in the right place. But by keeping that very regimented focus and frankly leveraging the depth within the Armanino team to make sure we knew when it was mapped in the right place, it went quite smoothly. Well, a lot of work. I don't know if there's anybody on the call that was participating. It was a lot of work, but in the end, it went smoothly and really well. And like I said, remember there's 3 ERPs. So every one of the ERPs is surprisingly different. So they came together really nicely.
Yeah, definitely data migration is a single point of failure for any implementation. It's strategically important, and appreciate your insight on that one. Ashley, anything else?
Looks like we have one more question from Mike here. What is Microsoft's next big bet as being part of technology revolutions that we are seeing today? What should we be thinking about for the next 5 years?
Yeah, so I think, we pointed to those in the session that I did, is really about the ability to leverage data through AI to generate insights and to turn applications really into collaborative tools that let people work the way they naturally work. I think it's kind of endless what we're able to do by taking advantage of the cloud, taking advantage of the data platform, and the AI assets that Microsoft has. So I really feel like a ton of what we're going to see is going to come there. Since people talked about the software updates, I'll take a moment to plug for the fact that process is going to get easier and easier, and so I think that's going to continue to grow productivity. I would, in certain places, we're doing some very interesting stuff with mixed reality. So our HoloLens products and things like remote assist for customers for field service. But I really think that data, AI, and collaboration is the heart of things. I see a question. Well, I think the one last thing is, I think if people really discover what they can do with Power Platform and Power Automate, and really take the things that are making work difficult for people and make them easier and simpler, that's an amazing set of tools that are here today that I think as you look over the next few years, we're going to just see it proliferated everywhere. We're already seeing, just amazing growth with that, and I just think it's going to keep up.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Hey,
Mike.
Go
ahead, Chris.
Yeah. So there's a question from Steve in the chat window. When you have the chance, why don't you take a quick look at that?
Yeah. So we're talking about buying non-inventory items. Yeah, it's interesting. We're working with a couple of partners that look to be building a marketplace of kind of those that where a lot of those non-inventory items would be available with a super seamless integration with Dynamics for the purchasing experience, the invoice, and the workflow experience. So I think there's some interesting things showing up, mostly where partners are creating the marketplace, and we're going to sort of create the connection, to make it easy within Dynamics. Happy to connect offline if we can help with this specific, sort of punch out conversation you're talking about.
Yeah, and we're happy to follow up as well. It's a good conversation to have. There's a lot of capabilities, and even going back to the Power Platform, where we've been able to identify specific use cases where that's been able to streamline some of those processes. But happy to have the conversation. All right. Any other questions? All right. Hey, Mike and Kim, I really want to appreciate you for your time today, and appreciate the insight and the partnership, and and I want everyone, and also thank you to the audience for participating today. We'll make the recording available. Hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend. Thank you so much.
And next time we'll be in person. So.
Yes, absolutely. Next time we'll definitely be in person. All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
See you.